My mother-in-law took advantage of her own family for cosmetic surgery?
I mean, have you seen these new cheekbones, babe?
I, female 21 at the time, met my husband, male 18 at the time, in August of 2023. We moved in together pretty quickly. By November of that same year, we had moved in with my mother-in-law. By the way, this comes from Training Art 54, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to r/OK Storytime subreddit. At first, everything seemed okay, mostly because they were treating me nicely at his house. However, I started noticing small things about my mother-in-law that felt. For example, when I told her I wasn't hungry, she jokingly told me to eat poop, but she sounded very serious to me. Another time I mentioned that I hated the Mexican dish pozole. I'm Mexican but born in Texas, and she took it as a challenge. She made pozole just to try and change my mind. It didn't work, by the way. She also seemed to have a competitive streak. Whenever I complimented my mom and sister's green spaghetti, she would always say that she makes it really good. She constantly tried to prove she was better. Spoiler alert, she wasn't. Her food always lacked flavor. Moving on, she helped my husband apply for jobs, and he got hired right away at a meat market near the house, so he could walk to work every day. She would tell him that when he got his first paycheck, he should buy me things I needed, like feminine products and other essentials. But when he got paid, she suddenly told him to save it. That didn't bother me too much because I had taken some feminine products from my grandma's house. I lived with my grandma before moving in with my in-laws. However, that same night, my mother-in-law called my husband into her room. When he came back, he told me that she had asked him to buy her something. I reminded him that she had just told him to save his money, so that's what he needed to do. He told his mom he would save it, and that was that. I also noticed that she would constantly ask my husband to buy her things at the store. One time, he only had $30 on his card, and he wanted to buy ingredients to make green spaghetti because he had been craving it, but she wanted him to buy a 60-count carton of eggs, which would cost $14 at the time. He explained to her that he really wanted to make the green spaghetti. She got mad and said, "Fine, but you're not going to get from my milk," so we had to buy our own milk. Another important detail, my husband was receiving SSI at the time due to his ADHD and autism. When he was underage, his mom had control of the money, but when he turned 18, he was finally able to receive it himself. That's when he was informed that he owed $6,000. Technically, his mom owed it, but they were going to deduct around $90 from his monthly paychecks. This is important because my husband has been telling his mom that he needed to get his yearly shot after turning 18, but she always brushed it off, saying, "It's not as important right now." However, when SSI wanted him to go to an appointment to continue receiving benefits, she gladly took him. How is a yearly shot to protect his health not important, but securing SSI payments is? She even told me to convince him to put her as the payee of his SSI so she could receive the money. I just replied with, "I'll tell him." Of course, I did tell him, but I also explained why that was a terrible idea. If she got control of the money, he wouldn't have any say in how it was spent. Fast forward to my birthday. My husband was working, so I walked to his job to bring him lunch. He told me that since it was my birthday, he wanted to take me to the restaurant next door. We went, ordered food, and sat down. While we were eating, his mom called him. I couldn't hear what she was saying, but after he hung up, he told me he was mad that he was spending money. He reassured her that he could work extra hours. I thought that was really rude. He just wanted to do something sweet for my birthday, but she got upset over it. Here's the thing, though. My sister-in-law and I share the same birth month. My birthday is on the 23rd, and hers is on the 26th. Fast forward to her birthday, my mother-in-law takes us to the exact same restaurant. That's not weird since it's a popular spot, but what annoyed me was that she told my husband to buy food for me, himself, and one of his other sisters, not the birthday girl. I was frustrated because apparently it was okay for him to spend money for her birthday, but she got mad when he spent money on mine. On top of that, my birthday dinner was actually our first official date. We had gotten together so fast that we never had the chance to go on a real date before then. The whole time I noticed she basically wanted to use him for his money. I called her out on how she was acting and pointed out the pattern I had noticed. She responded by calling me crazy and saying I should be sent to a mental hospital. After that argument, we moved in with my grandma. A few weeks later, my husband started talking to his aunt, his mom's stepsister. She mentioned that his mom was a bad person. In her exact words, a narcissistic person, toxic, and crazy lady. And she told us something that shocked me. His mom had sold her sister's car and told everyone it was stolen.
Oh, wow. Hey, look at the mom. It's the common denominator again.
The police were called, and when they found the man driving the car, he admitted that my mother-in-law had sold it to him. And the craziest part, she sold the car because she wanted to get liposuction. My husband's aunt warned us to stay away from her because She only cares about money and uses people to get it. Let me know if you want a part two because we ended up moving back in with them a second time. I learned my lesson the first time, but my husband insisted we go back because they promised to help him get a job. And of course, even more drama unfolded. We got an update. We moved back in on October of 2024, and my husband got the job they told him they would help him get. While we were there, everything felt normal again. They weren't mean to me at all. I found out, though, through my sister-in-law, the one I thought was nice, that her mom hates me. Told me that her mom said she doesn't like me for her son. My sister-in-law also told me that my mother-in-law said I supposedly had surgery because I looked skinnier. I was 150 pounds when I got with my husband. After everything I went through with his mom, I wouldn't eat much and also wouldn't go outside. I developed a vitamin D deficiency where a normal level is 30 through 100. Mine was at 9, and I had to take 500 milligrams of vitamin D for a couple of months, one pill every week. Because of that, I lost a lot of weight in just a few months. In 1 month, I even lost 17 pounds, and now I weigh 126 pounds. When my sister-in-law told me what my mother-in-law said, I explained that I only ate 2 meals a day, and some days only eat once. I am healthier now, and I don't let people get to me. She also told me that the first time we left, when my husband gave them back the phone they got for him, he paid for it, but it was on their plan. My other sister-in-law, the one just like her mom, took screenshots of mine and my husband's messages and sent them to my mother-in-law. My husband had asked for help in resetting the phone because he didn't know how to do it himself. But to be honest, I don't know if what she told me is true because she says things that are hard to believe. My husband has told me she lies a lot. One time when I was hanging out with her, she showed me a picture of one of my husband's ex-girlfriends and said, "She's really pretty." I didn't say anything to her, but I told my husband said she wouldn't be coming into our room again. Throughout the days, it was the same thing. My mother-in-law would ask my husband to buy her things, and when he asked her, she would say, "Do you have money?" He even gave them $150 for their car insurance, but I'm sure they had money because my mother-in-law makes $2,000 a month and her husband makes $6,000 a month. One time we were all at the mall and she told him, "If you buy me and your sister a perfume from Sephora, I'll buy you a Lego set." My husband got them perfumes, which cost $75. And when he said, "Okay, now you buy me a Lego set," she said, "I said for Christmas." When Christmas came, she didn't get it. Also, my mother-in-law wanted me to apply for food stamps. I told her I called and they said the whole household income affects eligibility. Even if it's just for me and my husband, since they make too much money, we wouldn't qualify. Told me to use my grandma's address instead. I told her that's illegal, and she said she would show me how to do it when she got home. Said she was at work at the time. I explained that I wasn't going to do that, and she said, "Okay." I told my husband's aunt what mother-in-law said about using grandma's address, and she told me my mother-in-law is used to committing fraud to get money. She warned me not to do it. I explained that I would never do it. I still have the screenshots of those messages. Before we even moved back for the second time, my mother-in-law got cheated on for the 5th or 6th time.
Whoa!
Turns out she keeps staying with her husband even though he cheats. My husband's aunt said that my mother-in-law lets men cheat on her as long as they make good money. She even let her ex-husband, my husband's dad, cheat on her until he walked in on her with another man in bed, which is when they separated. I know that's none of my business, but here's the thing. While we were there, they kept telling my husband that he has how do I say this? Basically that he's not a man. They would say it jokingly, but it still made me mad and it bothered my husband. How is a man who cheats on his wife going to tell another man that he's not a man? My mother-in-law would also say that she wears the pants in the relationship, even though it's clear that she doesn't. We noticed they mostly bought food for themselves. Meanwhile, we had to buy food for everyone. They had food they didn't want to share, but we had to share everything we bought. I didn't mind sharing, but it wasn't fair. Fast forward. My husband had a problem with a guy at work and had to quit. My mother-in-law and father-in-law told us that if he didn't get another job, then he would have to leave. They told us to choose. We decided to leave because we already saw that mother-in-law hadn't changed at all. She was just being nice to get my husband's money. I honestly feel like she didn't want us to save up and move out, so she kept asking for money. We decided to leave. I called my mom, and she came to help us take our things to her house. The first trip was fine. When we got back to get the rest of our stuff, while we were driving back, my husband got a text from his sister, the mean one, saying that he had to bring back the puppy he was buying from his mom. They had agreed to a monthly payment of $100 for 3 months. She said if he didn't return the dog, they wouldn't give us the rest of our things. My husband called the cops, and we waited outside the house. Mother-in-law was at work. The whole time, his stepdad was laughing at him and waving a bill in his hand, saying he had to pay for it. My
Okay.
mean sister-in-law was on the phone telling people or her friends that we were causing a scene again. When the cops arrived, they told my husband that since we technically still lived there, he could come back another day, jump the fence, break the windows, and get our stuff. But that would be legal and they wouldn't arrest him. They said the dog situation wasn't the problem and that they couldn't do anything about it. They told my husband's stepdad that they, the cops, couldn't make him pay the bill because it had nothing to do with him. Now, I want to mention that when we started living there, it was October 20 something, and my husband paid the bills in advance, even though they weren't his responsibility yet. He did it just to be nice. But in the end, we still had to give the dog back, even though my husband had already paid $200 for it. Also, my husband told me they took our stuff to their room and then put it back in ours when we were going to take it out of the house. By the way, we won't take you out unless you go to your favorite podcast platform, search up OK Storytime, and boom, we will have stories as crazy as this one, just like this.
Exactly.
And we won't take you out. We're going to read the rest of the story. While we were taking our things, his stepdad told me that my husband had to pay the bills. I told him that since my husband had already paid for the bills, that wasn't his responsibility when we first got there. He shouldn't have to pay now and should call it even. His stepdad said no one told him to. I told him, well, he's not going to pay. He responded, I'll find a way to make him pay. We left and never looked back.
Yes.
My husband's aunt was mad at us for going back in the first time because she had warned us that my mother-in-law is selfish person, toxic, and crazy. And it's the end of that crazy. Yikes, dude. People these days.
But sometimes you really do. You just got to be like, I'm cutting my losses. We're leaving. We're moving. Shaking.
Leaving, moving, shaking.
And it's over.